Are you finding that you've got a negative self-image or negative self-talk? Well, I wanted to talk about one of the most amazing books I've come across, which is Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, and how that has really helped me and the impacts of that. Welcome to today's Men's Mental Health Journal. So, basically, this book is about a guy who's researched about the impact of self-image, and he studied it first of all in plastic surgery, noting that people who got plastic surgery, even though they changed their appearance, they would keep the same image. So if they felt like, for example, ugly with their nose and they wanted to get plastic surgery, often they still felt ugly even though they had the surgery on their nose. And there's many other examples he talks about with plastic surgery. Now, this isn't to knock plastic surgery or talk about it or anything like that. It's just an example. But the key part is that self-image is really, really important in how we feel about ourselves and therefore everything around us in life. Because our image and how we see ourselves and our relationship to ourselves feeds everything. And it's definitely something that's I'm going to work on until the day I leave this planet. You know, it's always a work in progress. And certainly when I've been in dark spots, my perhaps relationship with myself isn't as healthy as it could be. So I wanted to share like 4 main takeaways that I got from this book. So the first one is your identity is everything. Your behaviors and actions will follow your identity. And you could have identities for different areas of your life. If you keep telling yourself you are a terrible public speaker, for example, or you're not very good with people, you will act in accordance with that. If you tell yourself you're terrible with money and you just can't manage it, you are going to act in accordance with that. Now, the thing is, a lot of the time we have quite a lot of unconscious things. So really start paying attention and consciously bringing up and ask yourself those questions. How do I see myself? And then work at building that. So, for example, I see myself as really struggling with public speaking, and then I really worked on that and I took action. Now I see myself as pretty good at it. Not the best in the world, but pretty good enough. I see myself as a regular podcaster, and that's the image I hold in my mind. I don't see myself as a horse rider. Like, I've got negative images about me riding a horse and that I probably stumble, hopefully won't fall off and hurt myself, but those are kind of the images. And with people, I feel like I've got a good relationship with a lot of people. So therefore I have a lot of positive images when I'm interacting with people, right? So your identity is everything, how you perceive yourself. So really start questioning, what are you saying to yourself, because you will act in accordance with that. The second thing is happiness is not in the future. It is something that you can have access to now. Now, I'm not saying suppress things. I'm not saying don't feel sadness, don't feel anger, don't feel anxiety, don't feel stress when they come up, because I think the healthiest thing we can do is feel them. But what I'm saying is, if you keep thinking that happiness is in the future, it's always going to be a chase, when actually you have the power to experience it in the present. Now, if you're obviously grieving someone, you're not probably wanting to access happiness right now. But general, it is something that is available, not 24/7, but rather than thinking about it being a future thing that you get, realize you got the power to arrive to it now. And the third thing is set yourself a goal, but enjoy it by doing step by step. And what that means is, don't think about when you got to hit the goal. Have a goal, have some kind of focus in life. That's amazing. But stay present and where you are by working on step by step and enjoy the ride of that. So, for example, if you want to become a millionaire, that's fantastic, but you've never made more than 100,000 in a year. Maybe your first goal is just to make 10 grand in a month, and then you can get excited about hitting that 10 grand. Maybe you want a dream marriage and you're currently single, and maybe your step is to sign up for, I'm not a big fan of online dating, so I was about to say that. Maybe your next step is to ask your friends if they know anyone who fancy going on a date, or, you know, going to a social event or something like that, right? That could be your next step, which you get excited about accomplishing. And then the fourth one, when you're feeling negative, you're thinking negative and you've got negative images in your head. Think about it. When you are feeling bad, you've probably got like negative images, things that make you feel crap, you're feeling a bit small. So what you realize you can do is you've got the power to change those images right now. You can change those images as soon as you want to, by visualizing and constantly picking out and becoming conscious of those images that aren't serving you. So those are the 4 things that I really took away from that book, and I wanted to share them with you today. And I'd recommend getting a copy of the book, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. So that concludes today's episode, and I will speak to you very soon.